The Lakers put up a good fight in San Antonio, but are ultimately overmatched, and they lose despite a huge game from Luka Doncic. That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers first listen of every day, no matter how you get the podcast, whether that's Apple, iTunes, Spotify, maybe you're one of the 37,000 subscribers to the Locked On Lakers YouTube channel. No matter how you do it, you are responsible for making Locked On the number one podcast, sports podcast network in this or any other known universe. I'm Brian Kamenetsky with Andy Kamenetsky, long time, almost 2 decades now, covering the Lakers for a bunch of outlets, including ESPN and the LA. Well, Andy likes to remind me, nobody reads the paper anymore. They don't know what the LA Times is, but we work there. And also the Athletic.
Well, they know the Los Angeles Times exists. They just don't know it in paper form. They know what LATimes.com is.
Okay, maybe. Well, we work there. And also for the Athletic. Anyway, so look, this was going to be one of those games, I think, for the Lakers. It was pretty clear. Nobody knew for sure whether LeBron was going to play in this game after a big game on Tuesday night in New Orleans, but I think it was better than even money that he wouldn't.
We certainly suggested the possibility after the New Orleans game that it had not been clarified and that we thought there was at least a decent chance that he wasn't going to play. It was reported during shoot around. I want to say Dan Wojcicki from the Athletic said that it was still unknown at that point. LeBron was going to decide after he woke up from his typical afternoon nap, see how he felt, and it was ultimately decided, again, not all that surprising, that he was not going to play the second end of a back-to-back.
The idea that the old man would figure it out after a nap is the writers are really getting the hang of it.
To be fair, the young players all take naps too. Like all these dudes sleep during the day, particularly after travel. But just so people understand this, like prime Shaq, it was well known. Don't you ever disturb that man during, like, unless it is an emergency, like the house is on fire and you're not able to roll Shaq's bed out of the house as it's on fire. You do not wake that man during his nap.
I will say that LeBron, reputationally speaking, is not just a GOAT player. He is, by all accounts, a GOAT napper as well. God, I wish I had that skill.
That's how you get to age 41 in the NBA, man.
Yeah, that's one of them. So this is going to be, obviously no Austin, no Rui, and now no LeBron. You're going up against a San Antonio team that didn't have Devin Vassell, but other than that, Wemby's back, and there's just a lot of depth on that squad. This was going to be a tough win, and it wasn't. The Lakers lose this game. San Antonio takes it 107-91. Lakers lose by 16, but that is actually misleading. The game was far more competitive than that throughout most of it, and this was. We'll get to some of the responses that players and coaches had after the game, but honestly, this was one of those games that you look at and you don't look at it as a moral victory necessarily, but you can still look at it as a positive experience that reflects on the type of team that you have. And I think that's what the Lakers did.
I tweeted out during this game at Cam Brothers, if the Lakers were as regularly conscientious about getting back on defense in transition as they were during this game, it would not solve all of their defensive problems, but it would be a nice start. Like, this was a game where you can fault the lack of shot making by anyone not named Luka or Doncic, or I guess you could say Jake or LaRavia. Jake maybe not chipped in enough, but he certainly chipped in a reasonable amount. It was a reasonable.
For people know, Jake LaRavia had 16 points, 7 rebounds.
Sure, but I just meant purely. I meant purely just scoring. Like Jake had 16, nobody else had 10, and 16 clearly from Jake was not enough. But it is a reasonable amount to expect from Jake LaRavia. So offensively, in terms of shot making, in terms of other guys stepping up on that end of the floor, there clearly was not enough there to build off what Luka did. Dude was just superhuman in this
He was
game.
insane. 38 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists.
But I do feel like the effort across the board defensively was there. The team was up for the fight spirit-wise. They just were not up for the fight production-wise, and the production ultimately matters.
They were out-talented in this game. I mean, you get past the second best scorer on the floor for the Lakers was Jake. I mean, come on. What are we doing here? And I don't mean that to disparage Jake LaRavia, but like when you go into a game against the second best team in the conference and you do so with Jake LaRavia as your second most viable scoring threat, that is generally not going to take you very far. The Lakers just starved for offense in this game, but the Luka part of it, and we'll get to some of the stuff that JJ said after the game, but the Luka part of it, he talked after the game about how kind of proud he was of the team, and his normal routine of self-criticism. He turned the ball over too much, he thought, and all that stuff. He did have 7 turnovers. You used the word spirit a couple seconds ago. I think that was like, there was a spirit with how Luka was playing in this game. There was sort of a lightness and a leadership with what he was doing. Like he didn't make this game feel like a grind, I think, for the players. And, he threw another, we talked about the alley-oops in Tuesday's game. The one he threw to Jaxson Hayes in the first half of this game was bananas.
Yeah, Jaxson ended up throwing down a reverse layup off this pass that was not just half to 3/4 court. It managed to get over Wembanyama's arms perfectly on point for Jaxson to throw down this reverse layup. Like it was an absolutely insane pass from Luka.
It was phenomenal. And there was a spirit is the right word. And the Lakers have a stretch now coming up, which we'll talk about. If we don't talk about it much in this episode, we'll get to it for the next one. The Lakers have 5, I believe, games in a row coming up against teams under 500. And that is a critical stretch. And I honestly think what they showed in this game, whether, like you said, the spirit of getting back defensively, really paying attention to that kind of stuff, the consistent effort, the willingness to put in kind of I don't want to say it was a lost cause, but it had a feeling that it might be, unless they needed one of those nights where the Lakers just got kind of unusually hot from 3-point range or something like that. And that has not been their MO of late. Lakers 9 of 39 from 3-point range. I really did
outshoot though San Antonio from behind the arc. Like San Antonio averages 119 points a game. They held San Antonio to 107. San Antonio shot 16% from behind the arc, 49% overall.
Some of that is Lakers defense. Some of that is just lousy shooting.
Yeah, but you could say the same thing about some of the shots the Lakers.
Oh yeah, the Lakers missed. No, the only difference I am at this point sort of expecting the Lakers to miss open 3-pointers.
But the point being, though, like if you're going to say that some of these were missed makeable shots by San Antonio, you also have to say the same thing about the Lakers. Like defensively, I mean, it's rare to say this. Their defense was not perfect because this team's defense is never going to be perfect for 48 minutes. But the defense was not the problem in this game.
Not at all.
It was the inability to make shots and to provide Luka Doncic any real high-end support in this game. He just had nothing going on at all, just trying to find someone and didn't get it.
It was, they are an offensively challenged group. I think there's just sort of when guys are missing, I should say, they're an offensively challenged group. Like when you have Austin Reaves and LeBron James and Rui Hachimura is there, it's top heavy, but it's a team that can put up a lot of points just because you have so much skill at the top of that lineup. When you start taking one of those guys away, you can see what it does to the rotation. When you take two of them away, it really starts to hurt. When you take three of them away, you're not really an NBA team at that point.
Well, and also too, we'll get into this. The Lakers, you saw the limitations, and obviously this version of the Lakers, like this roster, if this is what they had for the next 40-ish games, they might as well just start becoming sellers because that group isn't going anywhere. But beyond the lack of shot making in this game, you also saw the lack of shot creation again beyond anyone named Luka or Doncic. So we can talk about that as well coming up next. Locked on Lakers is brought to you by Rocket Money. Let's be real. Managing finances can feel overwhelming. Between subscriptions, you forgot about bills that keep going up, trying to figure out where your money actually goes each month. It is easy to feel like you're losing control. And who has time to track every single transaction or hunt down every hidden fees? We all got jobs and lives and kids and stuff like that. It all gets in the way. That's why Rocket Money becomes your savior, the personal finance app that helps you take control. Find, cancel unwanted subscription, monitor your spending, help lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It tracks all your subscriptions, lets you cancel them right in the app with a few taps. You don't have to hunt down some customer service number, be on hold for an hour. You can set budgets and goals, get personalized insights, receive real-time alerts for large transactions, upcoming bills, low balances, and it even consolidates your checking, savings, loans, investments, all into a single dashboard so you can get a clear view of your entire financial picture. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon.
Locked on Lakers also brought to you by BetterHelp. As we roll into the new year, there's a lot of pressure to chase the new you, but sometimes it isn't about reinventing yourself. It's about feeling a little less weighed down, and therapy can help you understand what's been holding you back by giving you an outside perspective on your emotions, your motivations, your relationships. And that's why BetterHelp can be such a helpful place to start. Therapists at BetterHelp are fully licensed in the U.S. and work under a strict code of conduct. They help match you with a therapist based on your needs and preferences. So you're not doing all that legwork on your own. It's certainly one of the most intimidating parts of therapy, especially if you're getting into it for the first time, is finding a therapist, because you just generally don't know who some of these people are. You may not want to ask somebody, hey, who's your person? You might not want to have that conversation with friends or with family. So they do some of that work for you. And if the match isn't right, you can switch to another therapist from their tailored recommendations at any time. So BetterHelp makes it easy to get matched online with a qualified therapist. They've served over 5 million people with over 30,000 therapists, and live sessions average a 4.9 out of 5 across more than 1.7 million client reviews. Again, BetterHelp makes it easy to get matched online with a qualified therapist. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/NBA. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/NBA. I saw like the stuff they were doing, Andy, in this game, like, the shooting, and it's like there's not a lot that could be done, they weren't doing anything wrong. And I think that's really what JJ harped on after this game was over. It was just like they were doing the right stuff, and that's all we can ask of this roster, given who was missing.
Yeah, I'm looking right now for this stat. At halftime, the Lakers had 16 field goals. Luka had scored or assisted on 14 of them. Like, again, just a reminder that the dude was a
George Sedano noted on the ESPN broadcast that I believe it was 39 of the 40 something points that the Lakers had at the halftime. Luka was responsible for either scoring or assisting. It's like 91%.
Shout out to our buddy George, but also too, like you look at, and I know assists are obviously dictated by made baskets. They go hand in hand, but Luka has 10 assists in this game. The Lakers have 16 as a team. Nobody else has more than 2. Gabe had 2. Gabe Vincent made his return tonight, 18 minutes, which JJ said was going to be basically his cap. 6 points, 2 of 8 from the field, 2 of 7 from behind the arc. But you just saw between him and Marcus Smart, who had 2 points in this game, 1 of 6 from the field, missed all 3 of his threes, 1 assist against 4 turnovers. There was nobody else on this team really able to just generate shots for other guys. Like, forget the idea of who else was responsible for making them. Like, when you don't have LeBron and you don't have Austin, on top of not having Rui, who, if nothing else, is one of the best finishers on this team in terms of he's a 3-level scorer. He can score.
Sure.
He can finish plays. When you don't have him as a potential option to score, and you don't have LeBron and Austin to help create these looks, and the rest of the guards that you have out there really are not meant to be primary or even high-end secondary playmakers. Again, it all just falls entirely on Luka's shoulders, and the dude did everything you could possibly ask for from him realistically, offensively. I mean, he just did not get enough help. The effort was there from his teammates, but they needed more than just effort. They needed success on that end. They just didn't find it.
And there's only so much you can ask. I mean, like, guys like Nick Smith and LaRavia, and, the LaRavia was the only other starter in double figures. Jaxson Hayes with 10 points was the only other player that the Lakers had in double figures. They scored 91 points. That's not good in an NBA game. But I'll go back to this point that I mentioned a little bit in the first segment, like, and JJ noted it after the game, the leadership part of this for Luka, he said, over the last 5 or 6 games, what they've gotten from Luka has been much better. And I don't think he was just talking about the efficiency and things like that. This is another game where Luka was very efficient from the floor, getting much closer to that early season type output and stuff like that. Part of what made that first 3 weeks, first month, so much fun watching Luka was the kind of the spirit that he had. Like, there was a sense of enjoyment to what Luka was doing that was infectious for the rest of the team. And I think that was a big part of those early season vibes that seemed to carry the Lakers through, where you could look at all of these numbers and missing players and can't figure out what kind of team are they. Part of the vibes was Luka's leadership and spirit. And JJ talked about how that's improved again over the last few games. And I think it was particularly visible in this game, which Luka, who is no moron, knew full well the Lakers were probably going to lose. And yet the leadership was still there. And I think that's really significant.
Here's an example that this is going to sound like a backhanded compliment, and it's not. I really do mean it, because this was a night where it had to be this way. If we're all being honest, Luka is an incessant complainer on the court. Like, this is his reputation going back to Dallas. It's his reputation in overseas plays. Now, and the NBA is a league filled with incessant complainers. Luka is hardly the only guy who yells at the refs and jawbones them for the entire time he's on the court. Like, he's got a lot of company, and he certainly is not one of the worst when it comes to constant technicals and whatever. But this is something Luka does. There's only one time in this game that I can recall off the top of my head Luka not getting back because he was yelling at the officials. And that's, I would like to think at least, because Luka recognized this was a night, no, seriously, we cannot have me doing that during this game. Like, I need to be getting back every single time. Like, that is leadership, because that means Luka is altering his personality on some level. He is altering his emotions on some level. He's recognizing I cannot be in character, in typical character in this context. So again, it is not a backhanded compliment. I mean that as a form of leadership.
If he does it, everyone does it.
Well, especially on this team with Luka and LeBron, who is another guy who is
a complaint. Like, look, sometimes Luka doesn't get back because he's complaining. Sometimes he doesn't get back because he's tired. Sometimes he doesn't get back because he's not, it's not his, that's not the side of the floor that he is most focused on. LeBron certainly will anticipate, what's going to happen on the other end, and sometimes gets caught, and it's not a good look and whatever, but he's, making compromises at his age and stuff like that. But when you're shorthanded, if you want to give yourself a chance to win, the best player on the floor can't just be the guy who does it based on skill. He's got to do it based on the other stuff too. He's got to set the example in every way. There was early in the first quarter, the Lakers were, had miscommunications, a couple things on a couple possessions. Luka called the group together. Like, we got to straighten this out, like, quickly, just little stuff like that. And your best player, there are a lot of ways to lead. There are a lot of ways to do it. And the guys take their cues, and Luka's cue delivering in this game was fantastic. And I know they lost this game, and I'm not trying to make it a moral victory. I didn't expect them to win it. But it's more of a question of, what do you take? What was this game that was like, did this game build on what they were doing over the last week or so, despite the fact that they won? And I think the answer is an unequivocal yes. I think it absolutely built. And I think, there's a good chance you see the results of that Friday against Milwaukee.
I hope so. We'll see.
All right. Well, let's look a little bit at that next stretch of schedule. Who is going to be back? Who may not be? And what the opportunity looks like for the Lakers, because the games they got coming up, they need to win, because the games after that get kind of tricky. So that's next.
Locked on Lakers is brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during basketball season. FanDuel's making them even better. We just mentioned the Lakers are going to be playing the Bucks on Friday. So every Friday night, be aware of this before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new, boosts, bonuses, and surprises. It's easy to check the weekly special right before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app, see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday night from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
Do want to mention to folks, if you are interested in getting the Locked On Lakers experience without ads, you can do that by joining the Everydayer Club. That is something that we are offering now on the network. It's a way to get the show without any ads in your feed, whether you're getting it through Apple, whether you're getting it through Spotify. No matter how you do it, if that's, you get the audio feed without any commercial interruptions. You also get to join the Locked On Lakers Discord chat. You get an invitation to that, and something Andy and I will be participating in as well. You do it by going to lockedonlakers.supercast.com, lockedonlakers.supercast.com. It's $5 a month, $50 a year, and you have that ad-free experience that I know a lot of you guys want because we get your emails. If you don't want to pay, do nothing. The experience stays exactly the same, and we love you just the same, no matter how you take in the show. So Everyday Club, check out the show notes for it, lockedonlakers.supercast.com. The Lakers, we talked about the Milwaukee game on Friday. Milwaukee is an under 500 team. We sort of think of them as, they've been a contender for the last few years. They've still got Giannis. They're not good right now. They get the Kings on Monday. So not only do they get a game on Friday, Andy, you get a couple days off, and then you're in Sacramento to face the Kings. So not a long trip. Tuesday, you're at home against the Hawks. The Hawks have a lot of talent, but they're not over 500. And then on Thursday,
we don't know yet how they're going to fit in Corey Kispert and CJ McCollum after the Trae Young deal.
The Trae Young deal is an interesting one, but we don't really have the bandwidth to talk about it tonight. But overall, I think it will help Atlanta. But they've more or less been playing without Trae for most of the season anyway.
They needed the closure, I think.
Absolutely.
I think CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert actually can provide some help.
Well, I love CJ on the on the Hawks, and Kispert is sort of like Luke Kennard. Yeah, another version of that. And, guys like that are useful. I think Atlanta's a pretty decent team, but they are under 500, and the Lakers are playing that game at home. And then you turn around a week from Thursday, you get Charlotte at home. They're not very good. And then you're on the road against the Blazers, who are a talented team, also under 500. That's a stretch, Andy, of 5 games in a row against sub 500 teams, not trash teams, not garbage teams, but sub 500 teams. You need to make noise in this stretch of schedule. Like, this is, this build up that the Lakers have had. Would it be great if they turn around now and take down Oklahoma City and go, beat Cleveland and New York? Sure. But what they really need to do is make sure they take advantage of games against teams that are under 500. This is a 4-1 stretch. If you're playing well, that's what you want out of these 5 games.
I had a conversation for my weekly ESPN LA 710 radio show, Lakers Talk, that's going to be on Thursday evening. I don't know the exact time because we're going on after one of the college football bowl playoff games, whatever the hell one it is, but I'm guessing it'll be roughly 8:30-ish p.m. Pacific time is when the show starts. But I did an interview with Camille Davis, co-host of Locked On Bucks, previewing this game. And one of the things that she acknowledged is factors like pushing pace, whether off makes, whether we're even seeing misses or makes. We're seeing teams just run on the Lakers constantly. Points in the paint, points off turnovers, second chance points. These are all areas where the Bucks do not thrive at all. They're like somewhere between middle to bottom 10, even bottom 5 in the league since Giannis has returned. I'm not even talking on the season. I mean, since his return. These are things
they've not been very good, even with Giannis back.
I mean, they're 4-1, but they've beaten Chicago, the Hornets twice, and I think the Kings, because everyone beats the Kings. They lost to the Wizards once during this period with Giannis. They've lost to the Wizards twice this season. But anyway,
they did lose Tuesday night. Wednesday night to
the Warriors. Yeah. And I asked Camille about these things specifically. I'm sure you all can imagine, because these are some of the areas where the Lakers, even by their standards, are often vulnerable defensively. The Bucks are not strong in any of these areas. And I asked Camille, I was like, is it safe to assume that if the Bucks thrive in any of these spaces, it says more about the Lakers than the Bucks? She said, most likely. Yeah, it does. So that even with Giannis back, the Bucks do not do a lot of what really hurts the Lakers. LeBron, I imagine, is going to play in this game.
I would think so.
Fingers crossed. Rui could maybe be available.
Rui, by the way, we should note, we forgot to mention this
Yes.
earlier. Rui was assigned to South Bay so he could get a practice in. So
Right.
he's practicing. That's good.
He was not a full participant in all of the practice, but he did practice. I doubt the Lakers are practicing on Thursday, so that could potentially get in the way of Rui playing on Friday, just because typically teams look to get a full practice. The next game would be Monday, so you could give Rui a few extra days. Regardless, it seems like he's getting closer, but the version of the Lakers that played the Grizzlies, these back-to-back games, they should be able to beat these Bucks if they, as I often talk about, control the controllables. They should be able to beat them. And they need to.
Yeah, and in some ways, am I looking forward to the end of the month when the Lakers, after I mentioned that list of 5 games, then they play the Raptors, who have been, pretty good. Then they get the Nuggets, who won't have Jokic, but are still, a very good team. A resurgent Clippers team. You see the Mavericks, which is always an emotional. Like, there's a lot of high-profile games. They get the Cavs at the end of the month, stuff like that. Those games are really exciting. They're the kind of things you mark the calendar for and all that. But in terms of me really thinking about, like, where can this team finish in the conference? What kind of team are they? Like, from a professional standpoint, these next 5 games are just as instructive as, a game that they might be playing against one of the top teams in either conference. Like, this is like sort of the day-to-day workman lunch pail stuff, not to get all Byron Scott hard hatty on everyone, but like, this stretch of games is very important. It's very revealing, and it's the type of stuff that you need to take advantage of so that when you get to those games against the good teams, you've built in the good habits, and you've done the repetitions, and you've played the right way. You've done all the stuff so that you can rise to the occasion against the good teams.
Yeah, and you just keep stacking those wins. The Lakers are, to say the least, a mixed bag against the best teams in the league, and more on the bad side than the good. But they are 11 games above 500 because they beat the teams they're supposed to. And it may not feel impressive in terms of their ability to go deep in the playoffs, but it is important in terms of, if nothing else, trying to set themselves up with the best seed possible in the playoffs. So maybe they can round into their best form, catch a few breaks, all that stuff. Before we go, real quick, I want to make sure we give a shout out to Matt George, who hosted for several years Locked on Kings. He announced today that he is leaving the show for a new opportunity. He did not say yet what it was. He's not publicly revealed it, but
he could be playing for the Kings.
You know what? Not impossible.
Given where that team is right now, it is not impossible that his next gig is, reserve small forward.
Well, I really hope that for Matt George moving forward, he's doing something better than playing for the Kings. But we've had Matt on the show many times over the years. His coverage of the Kings is awesome. He is a great dude on top of it. So just wanted to give him a shout out and wish him the best, man. We really enjoyed working with Matt George over the last 4 or 5 years we've been with the network.
Yep, absolutely. So good luck to him. And then for Friday, I think we'll get into a little bit more of JJ's comments after the game about accountability, including accountability for himself that we didn't have a chance to get into for this one. So leadership and accountability talk for Friday's show. We'll see everyone then.